For small business owners who run companies with 10 to 50 employees, some might think that keeping employees motivated should be straightforward. But with first hand experience, I can tell you that it is not. So, in today's podcast, we'll talk about the top 3 secrets to a motivated team. The official podcast of Social Squares, where we talk about the proven practices for business success. Hello, business owners. I'm your host, Rav Mendirata from Social Squares, and landing leads is where my business leads. If this is the first time you landed on one of these videos, in this podcast, I interview successful business owners, coaches, and other experts, and they share proven practices for business success. Depending on where you might be watching this, don't forget to hit like, follow, and subscribe. Now, let's get into it. Today, we are going to talk about the top 3 secrets to a motivated team. Now, as a business owner, I know this task is really hard, and I have an expert on this subject with me today, Pat Boyle, who's actually mentoring me as well on how to keep my team motivated. Pat heads and is the president of Boyle Energy, which is a 75-year-old company and one of the best known HVAC and oil and propane company in the greater Philly area. Pat, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, Raph, thanks for the kind words, man. I really appreciate you having me on. This is terrific.
Now, you have an awesome team, and I love the culture you have built. So, would love it if you could share more insights which our viewers can take away today. But let's start with the employee incentives which you have seen which do not work well. Any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I things that I see that if you don't do, it's not going to work. It might not work out that well. So one thing I encourage every leader to do is to kind of obviously give your team a vision of what you're looking for, like something down the road, like keep them moving towards that. You're never going to get there, but just give them a vision of it. So I mean, one thing what I do is I basically every Wednesday I just meet with one of them, 7 o'clock in the morning here in my office, and I just say, hey, how you doing? How's it going? See what's going on, and then I'll talk after I listen to them for a little while, and I'll say, hey, this is what I'm planning. This is what I'm thinking this spring, this summer, this year. And what I do is, I mean, I have a huge TV screen right here that I'm using, and I sit them down and I say, look, here's all the training that I have scheduled for you for the next 12 months. These are some of the milestones I want you to hit by, June 1st and October 1st, and they're just arbitrary dates. They're not, it just gives them something to work towards, and it shows them that you care. That you're investing in their training for your company, and that you're listening. So I would say to every leader, like, you got to give them a vision. You got to give them something to look forward to. You got to work with them, and the way my schedule works out, I roughly have about, say, 25 employees. So that works out to about twice a year. So it's good. It's not sit down and here's a raise. It's sit down. How you doing? Checking in with them, and that's what I think is a good, I guess, thing to do. And if you're not doing it, I suggest you put something in place like that.
That's pretty interesting. I mean, sitting down with every team member, that's pretty awesome, and it's a big commitment. That's quite interesting. Now, as a leader, what all do you do to stay updated, to find new things, to motivate your team? How do you keep yourself updated?
But how do I do it myself? Is kind of it's kind of funny because you want to stay updated, right? You want to be a leader, right? You don't want to be a boss. Nobody likes to be bossed around. They want to be they want to be led. So one of the things I do is, I mean, I have a truck that's 17 years old, so I still have a CD player in it. So I listen to books on CD. I call it Windshield University. You know, I mean, I got to update that in a sense too, because the bookshelf at Barnes and Nobles is getting smaller and smaller with CDs. But this day and age, I mean, I go to YouTube, and I follow a few guys, and everybody's a little different, but I follow business guys, I follow motivational guys, I follow guys that talk about money and just business in general. I mean, to be really specific, I mean, I follow Simon Sinek. I love his stuff. I highly recommend that for anybody in any organization. I follow a guy named Dan Penna, who's one of these in-your-face motivators. I suggest you look at him, but he's very blunt, is one way to put it. Another guy I follow is Robert Kiyosaki. He's a money guy. I follow that. I listen to that. In business, you gotta understand money. And then another guy I follow is like Grant Cardone. If you ever heard of him, he's a real estate business guy. So I keep, I make time each week. I sit down every Sunday. I go through my, my thing for the week. This is my finisher's journal. I recommend it to everybody. It keeps you very organized. And I map out my day for the week. And here I have, Friday podcast with Rav.
Nice.
So this keeps me organized. I recommend this for anybody that wants to knock out any tasks.
Nice.
So
That's great. So you gave us 4 leaders to follow, and I think they are pretty diverse in themselves. I've listened to at least 3 of them out of the 4. Dan Penn, I'll definitely check out. So thank you for those recommendations. And now let's come to the title of this podcast, right? The top 3 secrets. And I think one of them you gave us when you started out. What would you say are the other secrets to a motivated team?
Well, if you're going to have a team, I think one thing you need to realize is, and this is huge. This is like what everyone's self-esteem is. Because for as long as I can remember, I've always had pretty high self-esteem. Man, I had great parents, great neighborhood I grew up in, great schooling. I can tell you every teacher I had since kindergarten. I honestly can. So I've always had that. But some people don't have that experience. Some people don't. They didn't grow up like I did, in a sense. So when you recognize where their self-esteem is, it's important to focus on it, in a sense, because one of the main things I tell everybody when they first get here, right? When they first get here, not the first thing, but one of the main things is it's okay to fail. You can fail. It's not a big deal. You're not going to get fired for messing something up. You're not going to get fired for failing. Failing is in school. They tell you failing is bad. It's not. It's how you learn. It really is. And I have this, this success right here in my office, right? What is success, right? It's got about 7 words on it: hustle, execution, discipline, ambition, sacrifice, patience, focus, and failure. And I tell everybody that comes in here that word failure, that's a good word. And so that's, so if somebody has low self-esteem, they might think failing is a bad thing. They might think, oh, I can't fail. I'm in trouble. You just got to tell them it's okay. It's okay. And then they start to come around. I had one young guy. I knew a lady at my gym. She worked at the high school. She knew this kid. He wasn't going on to college. She brought him in. She asked me if I could give him a job. I said, absolutely. Right. I had him cutting the lawn for the first summer, weed whacking, whatever. I bought him a new lawnmower. He drove over a pipe and broke it in 10 minutes after I bought it. Great guy, Mike, right? So Mike, everybody said, why are you keeping that kid around? I said, give him a chance. It's going to work out. Give him a little time. So the day came when Mike had to go get his driver's license, right? And he failed. And he called me up and he was upset. He was really upset. He was crying. And he thought I was going to be mad. And I said, Mike, let it go. It's not a big deal. Now you know what the test is like. And he thought everybody in our shop was going to be disappointed in him. And I just said that, Mike, this is not a big deal. You'll get it. Don't worry about it. I mean, that was 5 years ago, and he's turned out to be probably one of our best employees, without a doubt. But you gotta realize people's self-esteem and give them a chance and try and pump them up. I would definitely recommend that. Other things, without a doubt, mentors, right? Surround yourself with smart people. If you are the smartest guy in a room, leave that room immediately, right? Go find a room with smart people. I say that to everybody. I mean, so what I try and do is I try and bring in mentors from outside to kind of rub elbows with our people. And so they know, like, a mentor in any industry is going to stop. If you ask them for help, they're going to stop and give you the time to help you out, because that industry, whatever it is, heating, air conditioning, plumbing, I don't know, that industry has been so good to them for so many years that they want to give back. You will find these people, but you have to find them. They're not gonna call you. You got to knock on their door. You absolutely have to knock on their door, and you got to work for it. You can't feel like you deserve it, because then you look entitled, and that mentor is going to say, "See you later," right? You got to work for it. You're not entitled to it. So once you find those people, you keep surrounding yourself with them. I mean, knowledge is it's terrific. We had a guy here this morning, right?
Mhm.
Wayne Snyder he's the head guy for Carrier Corporation, Carrier Air Conditioning, head guy, technical guy. He's the guy that when there's a huge lawsuit, he's the expert sitting in the courtroom. And Wayne Snyder will call us and say, "I want to come in and do training for your guys," because he knows I believe in getting these guys trained up. Wayne, he comes in here, he prints up books. He only charges you for whatever the book costs. He doesn't want any money. He's one of these guys that they don't come around too often. And I mean, he's one that you definitely, you keep knocking on his door. It's terrific. And he realizes that, he wants to give back. And they're the things too that, help motivate some of the people in your organization, if you keep them around smart people. And then, maybe the last thing, I don't know what order this is, but one of the big things I do is time away from work, right? Sounds weird. What motivates people to work, but time away from work? Well, it does. It's a thing, right?
Right.
So a couple years ago, I forget what summer it was, I came up with this. I didn't come up with the idea. I was listening to all these different people. I probably heard it from Simon Sinek. But I ended up calling this thing I called it the Summer of Love, right? The Summer of Love. Here it is. All right, Summer of Love. Here's the contract I had for the Summer of Love. So
Yeah.
basically what it was is I took the entire company, split it in half, and I matched up guys, right? This guy and this guy kind of do the same thing. This lady and this lady do the same thing. This guy, they all do the same thing. So I made two groups, and basically every summer pretty much has 12-ish non-holiday weekends. And I said to each group, I said, look, you're going to get 6 Fridays off. 6 Fridays off paid.
Wow.
I don't care what you do. I want you to go hang out with your family, do what you love, hang out with the people you love. That's why I called it the Summer Love. But the one thing you had to do to get the 6 days, was one of those days you had to dedicate to community service. 8 hours community service. You had to go find something in the community and go there and work for a day, find out why they're doing the stuff, what they're doing, the whole organization, the whole story, and I need you to bring it back. And at one of the meetings, I want you to talk about it. And that's it.
Nice.
And that's it. And I mean,
6
everybody
days.
signed, they signed off. And they talked about it. It was like contagious. They loved to tell the stories of what they went and did, during those community service. And one of the days, our guy Ian, he had a Friday off. He was able to go with his wife to St. Louis, is where she was from, and they happened to see her grandmother. They weren't going to go that weekend if they didn't. And lo and behold, unfortunately, 2-3 months later, grandmother passed away. And he said if he didn't have that Friday, they wouldn't have been able to see her the last time. So that was the first Friday. I remember that story. So time away from work, man. You need that time to unplug. Fridays are great in the summer. You come back Monday charged up. I think it's something to consider.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And these are some amazing insights. So thank you so much. Again, this has been a great session, and I'm sure our viewers can take a lot of things away from it. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. This was terrific. Very fun.